Number 10. The intracellular detonation. When astronauts close their eyes in the deep vacuum of space, they do not see darkness, they see blinding, silent, violent flashes of light. This is not an optical illusion. According to NASA data on long-term spaceflight, these flashes are galactic cosmic ray subatomic particles traveling at 99% the speed of light. They tear effortlessly through the International Space Station's thick aluminum and titanium hull, pass directly through the human skull, and detonate inside the optic nerve. The night sky you think is so peaceful is actually a catastrophic particle accelerator. It is actively dismantling human DNA molecule by molecule every single second. If the very light inside your own eyes is quietly erasing your genetic code, how long until the void decides to finish the job? But the mystery deepens when we look at the very shield we trust with our lives. We spend our entire history operating under a comforting delusion. We believe that the physical laws governing our planet are permanent. We look up at the blue sky and think we are insulated by a grand, eternal fortress. We thought we were masters of the atom, safely tucked away in our protective bubble. But the universe does not build fortresses, it only has local weather conditions, and right now we're just experiencing a temporary lull in a chaotic, indifferent storm. Take for example the Earth's magnetic field. Mainstream science textbooks tell you it is a rigid shield deflecting the lethal, boiling radiation of the sun. But according to data from the European Space Agency's SWARM mission, that shield is actively decaying. There is a massive structural failure currently expanding over the southern hemisphere. It is mathematically classified as the South Atlantic anomaly. This is not a minor fluctuation. It is a gaping, catastrophic dent in our planet's armor, spanning a volume larger than the continental United States. In this region, the magnetic field is dropping to abyssal levels, allowing deep space radiation to plunge dangerously close to the surface. To understand how utterly defenseless we truly are, you must abandon your human perception of scale. If you were to shrink the Earth down to the size of a highly polished bowling ball, the atmosphere and the magnetic field combined would not be a thick layer of rubber or glass. It would be exactly as thin and exactly as fragile as the microscopic layer of mist left behind when you breathe on the surface of that ball. That fleeting condensation is the entirety of the barrier separating your delicate carbon-based biology from the absolute zero of the void. It is a metastable illusion. A single, powerful solar outburst, a direct hit from a Carrington-level event, would act like a cosmic sneeze, wiping that thin mist completely off the surface in an instant. We are not protected by rigid, unbreakable laws of physics. We are simply enduring a brief, accidental window of stability, a temporary glitch of safety in a universe that is otherwise merciless, indifferent, and completely sterile. Number 9. The Phantom Architecture. What is more disturbing is how this invisible threat breaches our orbital defenses. For decades, cosmonauts and astronauts have reported impossible things outside their windows. They describe phantom space stations, transparent geometric shapes, and optical sensors feeding back completely incoherent telemetry. We desperately want to believe these are just optical illusions, or perhaps simple software bugs. We want to believe our machines are safe. Number 8. The quantum sabotage. The reality is a phenomenon known as a single event upset, and it proves that our technology is utterly defenseless. Data from the ESA SWARM mission confirms that these catastrophic system failures spike exactly when spacecraft plunge into the South Atlantic anomaly. This is the exact region where Earth's decaying magnetic shield lets the cosmic sniper take a clear shot. Deep space radiation composed of high-energy protons and cosmic rays doesn't just hit the titanium hull of the International Space Station, it phases right through it. These particles are traveling at over 670 million miles per hour. When a single subatomic particle strikes a silicon microchip, it acts like a microscopic wrecking ball. It carries enough kinetic energy to forcibly alter the electrical charge of a microscopic transistor. It physically flips a binary bit. A 0 becomes a 1. In an instant, the cold vacuum of space rewrites the source code of humanity's most advanced engineering. A navigation computer suddenly believes the station is upside down. A life support monitor hallucinates a fire. It is a catastrophic, invisible strike that renders our logic entirely incoherent. We combat this by installing triple redundant computers. If one gets its brain scrambled by the cosmos, the other two outvoted to keep the station alive. But there is no redundancy for the human nervous system. We send fragile, carbon-based organisms into a radioactive firing squad, wrapped in a thin layer of fabric and sheer arrogance. The average human brain is a dark, wet structure containing roughly 86 billion neurons. It relies on incredibly weak, slow electrical signals to maintain a coherent grip on reality. If a stray cosmic particle can so easily lobotomize the shielded hardened silicon of a multi-billion-dollar supercomputer, what happens when that same particle travels at 99% the speed of light and strikes the fragile protein structures of your frontal lobe? The ghost isn't floating outside the spaceship, the ghost is the radiation actively unzipping your sanity. Number 7. The upward abyss. The kicker is, the threat isn't just raining down from above, it is erupting from below. We are taught from childhood that lightning strikes the ground. It is a simple, comforting rule of atmospheric physics, but the universe does not respect our primitive textbooks. According to high-definition observations from the European Space Agency and NASA aboard the International Space Station, there is a staggering phenomenon occurring right above our heads. When violent thunderstorms rage across the Earth, they do not just release energy downward. They violently discharge upward, ripping directly into the cold, abyssal vacuum of space. These are known as transient luminous events, specifically blue jets and gigantic jets. These are not brief, harmless sparks of static. They are massive, structured columns of electrical energy carrying tens of millions of volts. Imagine a single bolt of lightning bursting from a cloud top and stretching over 50 miles high, taller than the entire length of Rhode Island, punching straight through the stratosphere. They bridge the gap between our breathable atmosphere and the deadly radiation belts. To understand the sheer catastrophic scale of this event, we have to look at the mathematics of the void. Unlike normal lightning that you see from your porch, the electrons in these upper atmospheric jets are accelerated to relativistic speeds. They are tearing upward through the thinning atmosphere at a velocity approaching the absolute limit of the cosmos. 299,792,458 meters per second. At this unfathomable speed, physical matter begins to break down into pure, screaming energy. It is a profound reminder of our actual place in the cosmos. We like to think of Earth as a safe, insulated harbor, gently floating in the dark. But the reality is, we are living on the surface of a massive, leaking electrical circuit. The space between the top of our atmosphere and the deep vacuum is not a quiet, empty buffer zone. It is an active, high-voltage firing chamber. When these blue jets erupt, they create temporary, highly conductive corridors that connect the Earth directly to the deadly environment of space. And humanity's greatest orbital achievements, the International Space Station, is nothing more than a microscopic speck of aluminum, hurtling blindly through the spark gap of this planetary engine. If an astronaut performing a spacewalk were caught in the path of one of these relativistic discharges, the electrical potential wouldn't just electrocute them, it would instantly override the bioelectrical firing of every single neuron in their brain, plunging them into a permanent, sterile darkness. The sky above us is not a ceiling, it is a live wire, and we are just waiting for the circuit to close. Number 6. The Whispering Void. And yet, the biological glitch runs even deeper into the human psyche. During long-duration orbital missions, the most elite Psychologically conditioned minds on the planet frequently report the impossible. They describe hearing rhythmic, almost mathematical whispers slipping through their comms. Number 5. The unseen observer. They feel the distinct, suffocating weight of an unseen presence floating just over their shoulder. Human arrogance desperately wants to romanticize this. We want to believe we are making first contact or discovering ghosts in the machine. But the truth is profoundly more devastating. There are no spectral entities haunting the orbital outposts. The enemy is not waiting outside the glass. The enemy is locked inside the astronaut's own skull. According to peer-reviewed neurological data published in PubMed regarding spaceflight-induced changes in the human brain, the void does not just attack the physical body. It systematically dismantles human sanity. For millions of years, our neural pathways evolved relying on two fundamental terrestrial anchors: the relentless downward pull of gravity and the constant sensory white noise of a living ecosystem. When you strap a human into a titanium can and launch them 250 miles into a dead, silent vacuum, you violently sever those evolutionary tethers. The brain is plunged into an environment of absolute sensory deprivation. Faced with the deafening silence and the sheer, unfathomable emptiness of the cosmos, the central nervous system panics. It recognizes that it has no business being there. It is experiencing a catastrophic biological glitch. To prevent the mind from completely fracturing, under the weight of cosmic indifference, the cerebral cortex begins to aggressively fabricate its own reality. Deprived of natural atmospheric sound, the brain's auditory processing centers hallucinate whispers out of the mechanical hum of life support fans. Starved of physical grounding, the spatial awareness network projects a phantom companion into the module. The universe is not reaching out to speak to us. Our brains are simply lying to us, desperately rendering fake human voices and phantom silhouettes just to mask the cold, sterile reality of our absolute isolation. We can engineer billion-dollar shields to survive the physical vacuum of space. But there is no protective shielding for the human mind when it is forced to stare directly into the abyss. Number 4. The biological speed limit. This brings us to the ultimate limitation, the mathematics of sudden erasure. We wrap ourselves in pressurized suits and titanium hulls, pretending we belong among the stars. But underneath that multi-million-dollar armor, we are nothing but a pathetic collection of water and fragile proteins. If that armor fails, human biology is hopelessly outmatched by the merciless physics of the void. Number 3. The mathematics of sudden erasure. Let's look at the absolute chilling math of your own central nervous system. The absolute fastest a nerve impulse can travel through your body to warn you of danger is roughly 120 meters per second. When your eyes capture an image, it takes your brain an agonizing 13 milliseconds just to process what you are seeing. To a human, 13 milliseconds feels instantaneous, but to the cosmos, it is an embarrassingly slow eternity. A high-energy burst of cosmic radiation moves at the universal speed limit, 299,792,458 meters per second. If a lethal wave of ionizing radiation were to strike, it would not burn you like a terrestrial fire. It would physically erase your molecular bonds at the speed of light. In the 13 milliseconds, it takes your visual cortex to simply register a flash of light that radiation has already traveled over 2,400 miles. The physical structure of your brain, including the very neurons required to feel pain or register fear, is destroyed faster than a warning signal can even travel up your spinal cord. The universe doesn't torture you, it simply deletes you. Your biological glitch is permanently corrected, leaving the space around you completely sterile. The ultimate cosmic horror is not that you will die in agony, it is the realization that you will be completely erased from existence, and you will never even have the privilege of knowing it happened. Number 2. The sensory cage. This inescapable reality exposes the paradox of our biological prison. We look up at the night sky and believe that distance is the only thing keeping us from the stars. We convince ourselves that with enough time and enough advanced engineering, we will conquer the galaxy. But the ultimate cage is not made of light years or gravity wells. The cage is made of our own DNA. We are highly fragile machines constructed primarily of liquid water and unstable carbon bonds. We evolved to survive under exactly 1 atmosphere of pressure, sheltered beneath a highly specific chemical canopy. The uncomfortable paradox of human space exploration is this. We are trying to force a terrestrial glitch into an environment that actively, mechanically rejects it. There is no technological miracle that can change the fundamental limits of the human body. In the true vacuum of space, the atmospheric pressure is absolute zero. At that pressure, the boiling point of the fluids inside your body, your saliva, your tears, the very blood in your veins instantly drops below your normal body temperature. Without a pressurized, artificial womb to hide inside, your own biology boils you alive from the inside out. We are prisoners trapped in a sensory cage, staring out the window of a planetary isolation ward. We can build telescopes to map the abyssal depths of the universe, and we can launch probes to touch the outer planets. But we can never truly inhabit the cosmos. Because the moment we attempt to permanently leave our quarantine rock, the merciless, ionizing radiation of the void will simply unravel our atomic structure. We are trapped, forced to gaze into an infinite, sterile graveyard that remains completely and utterly indifferent to our desire to explore it. Number 1. The true void. And in the end, we must confront the true void. We desperately cling to the belief that human history matters. We build monuments, fight wars, and broadcast our radio signals into the deep, hoping someone or something is listening. But the universe does not care about our achievements. It operates on a scale of time and entropy that completely invalidates our existence. The cosmos is approximately 13.8 billion years old. If you were to compress that entire unfathomable history into a single 24-hour day, all of human civilization, from the discovery of fire to the launch of the International Space Station, would occupy less than the final 2 seconds. We are not the main character of reality. We are a brief, microscopic spark in a dark room that has already been forgotten. Eventually, the stars will burn out, the galaxies will drift apart. In 100 trillion years, the last stellar engine will flicker out, and in 10 to the 100 power years, even the final black holes will evaporate into nothing but cold, ancient radiation. We fear the dark because our primitive brains trick us into thinking a predator is hiding in it. But the ultimate, paralyzing horror of the cosmos isn't that something is waiting to hunt us. It is the realization that the dark is completely, terrifyingly sterile. There are no monsters. There are no guardians. There is no grand design. We are not special. We are a statistical anomaly in a cold graveyard. Thank you for watching and sticking till the end. We've got plenty more videos coming in the future. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss them. See you in the next one.